you doing? You'll win, lovely rascal.
The elite Hyundai i20. Uncompromised.
Hyundai.
The New India Assurance Company Limited, India's premier general insurance company, wishes all Indians a happy Independence Day.
This is TV18. And you're watching CNBC TV18.
Bankruptcies, a near presidential run. The man who made President Obama release his full birth certificate, now or currently worth about $4 billion in India and on CNBC TV18. Donald Trump, also known as the Donald, and the man who says you're fired like nobody else. Donald Trump, welcome to India, welcome to Mumbai.
Well, thank you very much.
What is your business plan or business strategy for India? I noticed that the two ventures that you're working with here in India, one in Pune and here in the city of Mumbai, in both you're lending them your brand, but you're not financially invested in any fashion whatsoever.
Well, I will be investing, and I have tremendous confidence in, as an example, the Lota Group in Mumbai. We're doing a fantastic building, almost 80 stories. It's selling very, very rapidly. It's doing really well, and it's a luxury tower. It's a fantastic job, and I will be investing in that. And we have a lot of money to invest. We invest in different parts of not only New York. I mean, I'm from New York, but we're investing all over the world, doing a lot of jobs all over the world. And just to correct, I never went bankrupt. You did say 4 bankruptcies.
No, your companies did.
Well, no, but I mean, I have hundreds of companies, and every once in a while, they'll take advantage of the laws of the country. And as everybody else does, as the biggest people that you interview do. Unfortunately with me, they sometimes start off a sentence that way, but no, we never went bankrupt.
Okay. I mentioned it for a reason, and I'll come to that in just a bit, but I want to try and understand your emerging market strategy and how it would apply to India. You said you're likely to invest here in Mumbai or in India.
Yes.
Could you talk us through what some of those details could be? And just one second, I'll finish the question. In many markets, your properties quite clearly say that you are not involved in the ownership or the development or the sales of those properties, that it is mostly a brand agreement of sorts. That's what it says for India as well in both your properties so far.
Yes.
How do you hope to expand that, change that?
Well, we expect to be investing in both of these and in other places in India. We're looking at other things in India and other parts of the world. We have tremendous international presence, and we're all over the world. But we'll only do it with people that we really feel good about in terms of partners and locations such as India, such as Mumbai, etc., that we feel good about. So we will invest in projects if we feel confident to those projects. Normally in the United States, as an example, I'll buy, like Doral I bought, lots of things I buy and do my own. But when you're this far away, I just arrived this morning, it's always good to have a local partner, but you want to make sure that partner, like Lota, is a fantastic partner. You want to make sure the partner is going to be good.
Will you start only with one property and stick to one property in Mumbai, that lovely sparkling gold building?
Well, right now,
or are you planning to do more?
Right now we're looking at this, but we are talking about others in Mumbai, and many in India, but in Mumbai we are talking about others with Lota.
With Lota?
Yes.
So they're going to be your partners for the foreseeable future?
Could very well be. We have a great relationship, and we have a job that we think is going to be very successful.
So you span several businesses, and I'm going to get to them in just a bit, but are you looking to bring many of them here to India? Right from merchandise to brokerage?
I do have merchandise. I have ties. I have the Trump ties at Macy's. I have lots of different things. I have chocolate. I have lots of things. And it all started with, I guess, the success of Trump Tower in New York, but also later on I wrote a book called The Art of the Deal, which is to this day the #1 best-selling business book of all time, Trump, The Art of the Deal. And that was a big thing. And then I did The Apprentice, and it became the #1 show in the United States, and now it's all over the world, and it's been amazing. So I've done collections of shirts and ties at Macy's and lots of other things. We have Serta has a mattress, the Donald J. Trump signature mattress, and it's one of the most successful mattresses they've ever had. And it's actually a big business. It doesn't sound like a big business, but it's a very big business. And so we do things other than real estate, but real estate is my primary thing.
And you intend to bring, let's say, golf courses, hotels to India as well?
Right. I think that we will be doing a major hotel in India at a certain point. We have a very hot hotel collection. We'll have 22 to 25 hotels in a very short period of time. They're setting records in terms of pricing, in terms of what people are willing to pay, because they know. As an example, we're building one on Pennsylvania Avenue right next to the White House, between Congress and the White House. The old post office, which is probably the hottest piece of property in the United States. We were selected to do it.
Yes.
And that'll be I think could be one of the great hotels of the world. We have the bones to do something incredible, a building that is so incredible. And I think that'll be one of the great hotels of the world when it's finished. So we have a lot of hotels already, but we have, and only at the super high end. I mean, we're not doing, and there's nothing wrong with the formula. You do the low, you do the middle, you do the high. But we've really focused on the very, very high end.
And that ties into that ties into your brand, especially. And I want to talk a little bit about
my brand. It does. I have nothing. I love the other formula also, but it does tie into the brand, and we seem to do it the best.
Okay, so you're a developer, a hotelier, a restaurateur, a casino mogul at one time, a golf course developer, a TV star, a best-selling author, a fashion designer, a merchandiser. My day has 24 hours. How many hours does your day have?
Well, I don't know. I know one thing. It helps to have a plane where you could get a little rest on the plane before you come. We made the trip from New York, and we arrived this morning. And the people in Mumbai, the energy and the excitement, it's been amazing. And we came, and there were a lot of people at the front door waiting for us. And it's a very vibrant place. And I love doing things, whether it's this or whether it's something else, or even if it's something in another business. My primary business is real estate. That's what I love. I love to be able to touch it and feel it. But it's been a lot of fun. And certainly I have a lot of things that happened to me that have been wonderful. I mean, I mentioned doing one of the great books in terms of business, or a show that became so successful.
Several books.
I've had many books.
So where do you find the time? Don't you worry about running yourself thin?
Well, I've been doing it for a long time, and I'm not as young as I'd like to say as young as I look, but maybe I don't look so young. I don't know. I feel young. I feel good. And as long as I feel good, I love doing it. So as long as I feel good, I'll keep doing it.
How do you pick a business? How did you decide you wanted to do mattresses? What is it about businesses that draws you to them?
Well, a lot of times people call me. I mean, in this case, Serta called me, and they wanted to do a mattress with my name on it. I gave it to my people. We did it, and it became so successful. Okay, so Serta has a lot of celebrities. They're all doing mattresses. They have me. I'm doing a mattress. My mattress blew everybody away. And frankly, they gave up on every other celebrity, or just about every. I heard everyone, but who knows. But my mattress is setting records, and Serta, they've never had anything like it, the Donald J. Trump signature mattress. Now, it sounds like a small business, but actually it's a lot of money. It's a big business, and I was impressed with how big. I was actually surprised with how big, but they called me. And a lot of times that will happen, where people will call me. You know, we're in a very strong position. We've never been like we are today in terms of a company, and yet we'll get calls, and if it's something that intrigues me, whether it's a building or whether it's coming to Mumbai or doing many other things. We're doing one in Rio de Janeiro, we're doing one in Vancouver. If it's something that's good, if it's the right place, I love to do it.
Okay, so there are no specifics in a business that draws you to them. No business plan parameters, no this is how big the market ought to be, this is how scalable the business ought to be for Donald Trump to want to get into that business.
No, it's really, I don't even think of it. It's like by the gut. Okay. It's really by the gut. Interesting, because it's an interesting question. People say, did you plan this, creating this brand? And, it's become one of the great brands of the world. It's not me, it's people saying it, but it's become one of the great brands of the world. And people say, did you plan it? When you got out of the Wharton School of Finance, did you do this? And it really didn't happen that way. It just happened. I did a book. I didn't know it was going to be a good book, and it became a #1 bestseller, and I think maybe the #1 of all time in business. I did a show. It wasn't supposed to be successful, called The Apprentice, and it became the hottest show on television, and now it's in 88 different countries. And, who can plan for that? But things happened that became very successful, very good, and I have a good time with it, so we keep it going.
When businesses go south,
correct,
it can hurt your personal brand in many different ways, right? So, for instance, Vijay Mallya's airline business is sitting on the ground right now, bankrupt, and he comes off looking like Nero fiddling while his company burns. So, I'm just curious to know, how do you manage the fact that your brand is constantly on the line, and that's your name?
You're right. With a personal brand, and when you have a person, a living person, it's, it does cut both ways. You said it better than I can say it. When things are good, it's great. When things go a little bit bad, the press will make it look much worse perhaps than it is, and then things can just go bad. So it's not a question of the press, it's just, so it is risky, and it's always been risky, but that's the way it is. You'll have tremendous success stories, and they'll be covered on the way up, and they get covered on the way down. The key is, don't ever let them cover you on the way down. You know how you do that? Don't ever go down.
One of the Trumpisms that is commonly spoken of is getting rich is easy, staying rich is harder. But with you, it's been quite a journey, hasn't it? That's the reason I brought up the bankruptcies. Some of your companies have gone bankrupt. I counted about 4 while I was doing my research, 4 bankruptcy filings that you had to do on behalf of your companies. And I'm just curious to know, how do you come back from something like that? How do you deal with the criticism that, hey, Donald Trump's company is bankrupt?
Well, you have to understand, you can take a look.
He's taking home a $2 million pay.
Sure, you can take a look at the biggest people today: Carl Icahn, Henry Kravis, so many others. I think Warren Buffett with one of his insurance companies. Other people, many other people. Leon Black, Apollo, great guy. He's had bankruptcies. They've all had bankruptcies. Nobody mentions it. With me, if I throw a company, I buy a company, I throw it into bankruptcy, let's say the next day, and I negotiate with the banks. I buy it, I throw it into a bankruptcy immediately. I use the laws of the country to my benefit. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. The problem is when somebody else does it, nobody cares. When I do it, they say, oh, Trump went bankrupt. Well, I buy a company, I throw it into a bankruptcy, I make a great deal with the banks because of the bankruptcy laws, and then they say I went bankrupt. I didn't go bankrupt. I used the laws to my advantage. So, and I don't think there's anything wrong. I mean, the laws are there for a reason. If you can use them like that, that's fine. But so many of the big people have gone bankrupt, and they never mention that. It's not like part of their resume. With me, I mean, you started off, the first few words you said is filed for. You know how many companies I have? Hundreds of deals. I've made hundreds and hundreds of deals, and you mentioned 4 of those deals. Well, I used that to my advantage, and of those 4 deals, they worked out very well for me. You know, they worked out very well. So I think whether you're in this country or any other country, depending on the laws, you have to use the laws to your advantage. But if you buy a company and immediately throw it into a chapter, knowing you're going to do this, and negotiate from strength, I think that's a smart thing to do. That's not a bad thing to do. Unfortunately, with me, you put it on my resume. You don't do it with the other people.
Well, I picked it
and
up.
I'm not
from
blaming
your
you. I
resume,
understand
yeah.
that. Yeah,
no, I think my interest lay more in the fact that there is negative press around those bankruptcies that you spoke of, and I keep connecting it back to the fact that your name is your brand, and which is why it's sort of, bounces back on you negatively at all. That's the only contrast I was trying to draw.
Well, in a way, I like you bringing that up, though, because, so many other people have filed that also have big names and big entrepreneurs, very rich people, very substantial people, people that you report about every week. They file for bankruptcies over the years. I mean, TWA Airlines with Carl.
Sure, every single airline in the U.S. has been through a bankruptcy.
But they don't cover it the same way. It's sort of an interesting phenomenon. But I believe in using the laws of the land, whether that's U.S. or someplace else, to your advantage. And, I'm a businessman. That's what I do.
बैंक ऑफ इंडिया हर भारतीय को स्वतंत्रता दिवस की